while doing the recording for this video, I actually observed another interesting tidbit, which I'll play for you now.
You're not dead.
I am not dead.
So she's asked whether or not she's dead, and she says, I'm not dead. I just thought that was interesting. She didn't ask if Tiffany was injured by the poke. I cut that part out, obviously.
No.
She says very forcefully no. So that should have been the first answer as far as whether or not life is still ongoing. It should have been yes, but it wasn't the case, obviously. So no, I'm fine.
Were you injured by the vaccine at all?
No.
Okay, so now we'll do the voice match. Listen carefully.
This vaccine meant to me. I thought that I could just push through because it was important to me. And I thought that my body might respect that, but it didn't care. It didn't. It did what it does. So yeah.
But then you got up.
I did.
So interestingly, she starts to cry there. So I didn't have this video, Tiffany's intro. It's a 20 YouTube upload where she introduces herself to the world.
I love Memorial Hospital. It's a wonderful hospital. I've had the pleasure of working on 2 South the past 3 years, and we are a med-surg telefloor. We get a variety of patients, and I definitely feel it's been a great foundation for my nursing.
By the way, this intro is the only video on her YouTube channel. Compare that old YouTube video to this recent release on TikTok.
I really don't even know where to begin, but I guess I could start with I'm alive. I'm alive, and I have a new episode of the podcast, Tiffany Dover is Dead.
So the voice is a bit muted, but it still has that same quality, which is like a type of Southern accent. And as detailed very exhaustively in this video on the Grey Ops channel, visually things are very confusing. That's me speaking from my limited perspective as a male, because I don't apply makeup or concealer to hide wrinkles. Tiffany took her daughter's TikTok, switched the name to her name, and maintains the same videos that were previously there, added a new video, which has gone viral today, revealing this dirty blonde Benjamin Button-esque conversion of Tiffany, which is somewhat similar to different videos, but there are differences which may be accounted for by video filters possibly, which includes this video where there's the implication of Android stuff with the Gen Z Unit 1 joke. I'm creating a second take here for this point I was going to make. So Tiffany apparently took over her daughter's TikTok channel, changed the name to her name, uploaded a new video sharing my story. And a comment I made in a previous take was that she has a Benjamin Button-esque transformation over time, although this may be the accomplishment of makeup and filters when compared to an older video where the facial lines are very prominent. Though beyond technical use, there could be other ridiculous possibilities. So I just briefly played to you some other segments here that stuck out to me. So go to 2022.
In one of your old Instagram photos, you had posted a photo of you and your daughter getting pizza.
It was her birthday the week before, and we had went somewhere. They did the cool milkshakes, where they really build them up. And we had pizza.
Okay, just listen to that, how she sounds there, compare.
In 2012, and ever since then, I've been at Memorial Hospital. I love Memorial Hospital. It's a wonderful hospital.
Age can bring down the timbre of the voice of some.
I think is a pretty normal thing for families to do on birthdays.
Could not be.
Despite subtle differences in timbre, volume, pitch, I would say that there is audio match. In this section of the tape, she also essentially connects the Pisa theory, saying folks were coming at her family, stating that she's engaged in the worst type of activities you can do to human beings. I haven't come across this information for the last few years where I was occasionally looking into the whereabouts of this person. So this does seem like another example of framing to try to make questioners look corrupt and malintentioned, which is the insufferable part of this interview. Let's see, and then for timestamp 2015, I have Blame Hospital.
Telling me that they were very busy, overwhelmed by the amount of attention, and that it had traveled all the way to Croatia, and that the hospital could not have me speak out because they would never recover from that if something like this was to happen again.
Tiffany said the hospital was worried about her responding. What if she said the wrong thing? What if she fainted again?
Like I said, that was the first time I really felt like shame from it, because I was like, oh no, like it was, I felt terrible. Like she's telling me that the hospital can't recover from this. I mean, I don't know. It was a lot for me to take on.
Tiffany?
Okay, then we'll go ahead and move to timestamp 30 minutes.
Photo.
I'm told that there's a great idea. So we're lined up. I'm told we're going to take this photo and this will show everyone that I'm alive. So as you know, when you go to take a photo, you stand there, you smile, you maybe shift a little, and that's it. But this was not a photo. As I realized once it was posted, it was a video. And nobody was aware, as you can tell from all of us just standing there in these.
And she's talking about this photo, which is a group photo here clipped down. It was also a short video segment with no one speaking, very oddly. The video itself is a piece of evidence I'll use to support my final assertion at the end of this video. Okay, then we'll go to 3502.
And she said in that interview, and in emails and in phone calls, that they'd never told Tiffany not to post.
I'm not aware of anything that asked Tiffany not to respond.
Long strongly implied that the hospital was just going along with Tiffany's wishes.
We have to keep Tiffany in mind in our response as well and do right by her. So we did a video that she was in and want to respect her boundaries.
When I asked Long directly about Tiffany going dark on social media, she didn't say anything about the work improvement plan that Tiffany had to sign, or about any other directive from the hospital to silence Tiffany. Do you know why she's stopped posting on social media?
She was harassed. Her family was harassed. She's, the response was overwhelming. And
I cannot immediately conclude that the PR person at CHI Memorial, Miss Long, was lying there, but it is more now a cross-accusation situation where we'll have no resolution unless the PR at that hospital comes out and makes another statement, which is doubtful. And then 3650.
Common Spirit Health. No one responded. When I followed up, Karen Long replied with one line, quote, "We have no new information." After that, I reached out to several of the nurses who worked on the COVID unit that Tiffany managed.
A co-nurse named Amber then also confirms proof of life of Tiffany. So I'll admit I had spent a bit of time on investigating Tiffany's situation, really because I wanted to understand if it's possible to crack certain cover-ups and to determine how extensive cover-ups could be. The intuitive conclusion that many would draw is that the video we see currently compared to the old photos do not seem to match, primarily because of these changes in the facial lines. I've heard others making arguments about the eyes, but that's very difficult to make a more definitive statement on, given how drastically different they can look under different lighting conditions. I chalk it all up to filters and makeup, assuming the statement that we've received today, however biased it may be, confirms that she's alive and well. Concerning motivations, my conclusion is considering the possibility that synchronicity may have created a comedy of errors situation where different parties involved continually made stupider mistakes in PR versus an intentionally orchestrated event by the hospital administration itself to produce an egg that will later hatch into this PR golden nugget for the political left, where they get to throw so-called conspiracy theorists under the bus. The truth of the matter depends on whether you view a specific photo scene that occurred days after her recovery as a part of a master plot or a bad PR error. This particular photo shoot was so bad, I tend to err on the side of it being somewhat intentional, and apparently Archmetic agrees. But don't forget, synchronicity can indeed produce a comedy of errors where things appear to be intentional, where they're not. If there are no further developments which can help us get a firmer grip on the nature of reality and knowing how to defend ourselves and our loved ones, we'll likely not cover the story again. I don't tend to believe that the supposed back and forth between her and the hospital is going to come to an equitable conclusion. But likely she will do further interviews that throw truth seekers and reality investigators under the bus, which, if it was all intentional, would be the goal all along. It's a game, after all, to some of these people. All right,